Greetings, everybody. Back again after a long absence.
Yes, people. I know people have been commenting. Where were we?
And the question is, I guess Mike was requested to join with Chris Sutton to give him some tips.
His form has improved a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah, and that's thanks to Mike.
Yeah,
for
I'd give
giving
him a
some
few
insight.
tips.
Very
So,
good.
anyway, I'm back.
Okay, let's get straight into it. Saturday games. I'm not sure what are we, week 13 or
Oh,
14? I'm not
I've
sure.
lost count now. I've lost
Anyway,
count.
you know
I know.
exactly.
I know. There's only 2 weeks left.
Check the name. It'll be on this video anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, first game Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoffs, right?
Yes, it's
Leeds Bournemouth, right?
Leeds at home to Bournemouth. Yeah, Leeds had a much needed, timely victory against the Minnows of Liverpool. They're at home against Bournemouth. Bournemouth have been constantly doing very well since Parker left.
Yeah.
Very interesting one to call. I will go for the home victory for Leeds. I think this is the time that every manager will say push for the
Yes.
World Cup is coming up soon. They'll
Yeah.
have their break.
3 games, whatever it is, let's end on a high. Kind
Exactly.
Of thing,
I think it's
and
only
take a
two
break.
left.
Two games left, yeah. So,
This one and one
yeah,
left.
exactly. So home team, you'd think, come on, let's
Yeah,
push it
let's
over the line.
let's get it over the line. Get three more points on the board.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for Leeds to scrape a victory. Won't be close. It could be 1-0.
Yeah. Leeds are kind of a mystery, I mean, you saw how well they were very unlucky against Arsenal.
Mhm.
They were really impressive. They did well, obviously, beat Liverpool away. And then the last 8 games before that, before they beat Liverpool, they only had 2 points.
Yep.
So
Oh, they were
when you
talking
see
about
them,
Marsh out.
yeah, so they are a bit of a mystery. And also they've got the in the Premier League the highest turnovers, from pressing, which is again a very good statistic to
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
Bournemouth started off were pretty good for a while under the new manager. They've had 3 losses in a row now.
Mm-hmm.
They were 2 up against Spurs, and then they threw it away and
Yep.
lost it. Maybe the new manager thing is kind of like maybe
The honeymoon
thinking-
period
yeah,
is over.
exactly. But so I agree. I think just Leeds intensity and the home game as well. I think we have to fancy Leeds for this one overall. Okay, Leeds to win. Second game, Man City against Fulham. Routine.
We'd call that, yes, that would be our dormy in horse racing, where you just say that's your
Yeah.
naff, that's your gimme.
Yeah, fair play to Fulham. They're still in the top 6 or top 8 or something.
Absolutely.
They drew the last game with Everton, got a clean sheet. But interesting stat about City: they've won their last 10 home games, scoring 3 or more goals in every game, and the record is 13 home games scoring 3 or more, set by Villa in 1930.
Right.
So,
Well, I see no reason why they won't get the 3 goals plus
Yeah.
on Saturday.
yeah,
I was very impressed during the week with is it Alvarez?
Mhm.
So whether Haaland is back, which he may well be, or if he's not, I don't think that will affect City.
yeah, not in this game anyway. Yeah, I
Not
think
in
at
this
home.
game. I think at home, dominate possession. So many creative players in that team. They'll get their 3 goals.
Yeah, and even during the week, they played a lot of their younger players,
They
reserve
did.
team,
They
and then
did.
they still beat, in Champions League.
Champions League,
they
playing
win.
Sevilla. Okay, Sevilla aren't the team they were, but
Still, yeah, they played a good, so impressive. I think 3-0. I'm going to go for City to keep up this record, 3-0.
Yeah.
Okay, then we're going on to Forest against Brentford.
really tough one to call. Brentford, the break can't come soon enough for them. They
Yeah.
started the season all guns blazing, and kind of after the international breaks, kind of stuttered.
Yes.
They'll be nearly happy to see this World Cup break to just reset.
Exactly, yeah, I agree.
But Forest at home, Forest need the victories. They need points. They got them against them again. Everyone's getting points against Liverpool except Man City. Because they followed it up with a very poor result.
What do you think?
I'm going to go for a draw.
Okay,
I think
okay,
Forest at home, you'll get something, but Brentford with Tony and the form he's in, I'm thinking 1-1.
Yeah. Forest were very poor against Arsenal. I'll talk about Arsenal later in that game. But also Forest are the second lowest scorers in the league. They've scored, I think, only 8. Wolves are the only team worse than them with 6. But interesting, 7 of those 8 goals from Forest have come from home, from City ground. So they do kind of lift themselves. There's a very good support there as
They
well,
do.
so it lifts them. Brentford 1 clean sheet and 22 on the road.
Yeah,
They score, but they concede.
they do.
2 very poor defences here. I just think Forest don't have enough up front. I think Brentford have more up front. Tony is a good player. I'm going to go for Brentford to win this one.
Brentford to win it.
Because they seem to be, like we spoke before, but all these new players coming in.
Yep.
Lingard was cut a forlorn figure. He's at his body language. I don't want to be here. I'm sulking because Man United didn't take me on.
Yeah, there's a bit of a chip on the shoulder,
Yeah,
and you see that with a lot of some players that are good but not that good, not as good as they think they are.
Yeah. So
and we've seen that countless times over the years.
Brentford to win. I'm going to go for. You think a draw?
I think a draw. And Wolves, again, we're talking about low goal scorers. They're at home in the last game, or the next game, I should say. They're at home against Brighton. Brighton have played some brilliant football. They haven't always gotten the results that their football deserves, but they've kept playing excellent football. I always think Wolves at home is a tough. Molyneux Stadium tough.
Yeah.
But the lack of goals in Wolves makes me go another draw and 0-0.
Okay.
I think if there's any game this weekend that has a 0-0 written on it, it's this one for me.
Okay. Yeah, Brighton, they'll be happy. They had a very good win against Chelsea. They'll be happy to get that because the new coach, they haven't won the first 3 with them, and there might be some doubts.
Just a little, exactly.
Is it going to go another way? So it'll be good for them that they've got that. I just think that they have too much for Wolves. Even if Wolves try to kind of get it back a little bit, Trossard, the Belgian guy, is kind of on a form for Brighton. I'm going to go for 2-0 to Brighton on this one. I think Wolves are in serious trouble. I think they need to buy a striker in January, definitely.
Yeah, well, they need
at least maybe 2.
At least, yeah. Exactly.
Because their defence is not bad. Their midfield is going to score goals. Just up front, they've nothing.
They've nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm afraid.
Okay, that brings us on to Everton and
That's Sunday's
Leicester.
games. Yes, we have a busy Sunday schedule. Everton, Leicester.
This might be the late game actually on.
No, there's no late game on a Saturday.
Okay,
it's a Sunday match.
Okay, Everton, Leicester. Yeah.
Everton, Leicester. You go first.
Yeah, Leicester, the last 5 games, they seem to have tightened up their defence a little bit. Their 5 games, they've scored 7, conceded only 3. And they did kind of give Man City a tough enough old game last time, even though City won 1-0.
They won 1-0, but they hit the post with a great shot. Great save, I have to say.
Yeah, so they seem to have kind of tightened up defence, which is good. And we know that they can score goals. They have got a firepower. Everton, of course, are they don't score many goals, they don't concede many goals. Lampard keeps them very tight. I'm thinking this could be a draw. I think, again, Everton are draw specialists. Away at Goodison Park for Leicester, I think 1-1 maybe for this one.
I can't disagree with your analysis there. I think Leicester, being away from home, would take the draw to kind of reinforce the improvements we've seen. I think a lot of it's down to we've finally seen the keeper has come out of his shell. New keeper coming in.
Yeah.
He's control of the area has improved. He's more vocal, and the players are responding to that and listening to him. So seeing that with the keeper, I think that's a big factor in why they've shored up their defence so much.
Yeah. There was a defender came back. I can't remember his name now. The third defender. They're kind of doing a back 3, and I think that definitely it has made an improvement for them.
Okay.
The big game.
One of the big games.
Yeah. Chelsea at home to Arsenal.
As you say, they don't get much bigger than that. I would have gone for a Chelsea victory on this, but one of the things I think that hampers Chelsea's chances are the injuries to Reece James and now Chilwell. And they really get the attacking options going.
Sure, yeah.
The replacements Azpilicueta is solid and he's been a great servant, but he's past his prime.
Right. Yeah,
and Alonso definitely does as well past his prime. Oh, Alonso might be even gone. I don't know.
Alonso's gone. Yeah, no.
Okay, it's the new Brighton lad. I can never pronounce his name. Yeah,
Cucurucella.
Yeah, Coco Cabana. He hasn't got going yet. We might see it now. It might even be this game. And for me, that really blunts their attack when they don't have these flying attacking fullbacks.
Yes.
So with that in mind, I am going for a draw. I think at home, Chelsea will have more possession, but they won't create clear-cut chances. It's one thing, we've seen it enough times now, especially in other games. Possession is only one thing.
Aubameyang, of course, up against Arsenal, he'll have a point to prove, he will think.
Oh, yes, but it's one thing saying I have a point to prove. It's another thing proving it.
Yeah, but he is dangerous.
He's a dangerous player, but I think Arsenal have very solid defenders. So I'm going for a score draw. I think because Arsenal have so many weapons themselves. And I'm saying, like, okay, Silva's not a young fella that's hurted that defence.
That's right, and he's been suspect the last few games.
Yeah,
he needs someone actually very strong next to him as well. You know, he misses Rudiger from last year. He does.
I mean, Koulibay, I think, is getting better. It's taken time for him to adjust to the pace of the Premier League, and he will improve, and he will be. But he is still no Rudiger.
Yeah.
I'm going 1-1.
Okay, Arsenal won 5-0 in the last game, and actually they in the first half, Forest, as bad as they were, should have equalised. You know, Arsenal were not very good in the first half. Once they scored a few, then it became easier. And I've noticed as well that their form actually has gone down a little bit. Saka, got an injury. His form has been down a little bit. Gabriel hasn't been scoring. They just seem to have kind of lost a little bit of their fluid motion going forward. They're not as good as I think as they were a few games ago. Chelsea have more experience. You know, this is a game that they would get up for. You know, with their home crowd as well. I can see Chelsea, even though Arsenal may be in the form, I think Chelsea could win this one. Even though I think that maybe then after they could lose a couple again after that, Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal will finish above them. Graham Potter as well has not got a bad record. He's won 3 out of his 6 against Arsenal from Brighton. I'm going to go for a sneaky Chelsea win on this one. I think Arsenal's form is just, they seem to have kind of like waning a little bit, and I think that the break will do them good as well too. I think after the World Cup. Okay, moving on to Villa and Man United.
Villa, Man U. Well, look, Man U's they're getting the results. Some of the games they're not playing the most impressive, but when you get results by and not playing brilliant football, that's what you want.
Yeah.
Their defence has really stepped up. Even Maguire came in and I think was part of a clean sheet.
Oh my God.
I know, unbelievable at one stage. So it's just that confidence as a unit is coming, is getting back. And it's really been led by by Martinez.
Okay, yes. And credit to Ten Hag.
Yeah.
For like he steadied the ship around. Took him a while to kind of get his ethos into the team. Slowly though, with a bad squad generally, you know, he's done. I think he's maximising what they can do.
Well, I think there's shrewd signings in Casemiro and Eriksen.
And Anthony and Eriksen,
particularly those two guys, because the centre of the field is really that heart. The spine of your team is where at least you get your semblance of your play, of what you want to do, and impose yourself on a field. And that midfield for a long time was always, having Fred and McTominay, no offence to them, was not very dynamic. Where you got Casemiro can do all the defensive work those guys, but better.
Yeah. And
still is more of an attacking option.
Yeah.
And Eriksen then is just a beautiful passer of the ball. Yeah. And that's what you want for someone that can get the guys going, the Anthonys and the Sanchos.
It's probably no coincidence that Rashford's form has improved, because and Anthony making those runs, Eriksen is going to find them.
Exactly, and that's why such a vital signing was really Eriksen. I think he's probably been Man United's player of the season so far. I'd go that far as to say,
okay. So you fancy United to beat Villa?
I think so. I think Villa, there was a bounce back, which I kind of don't like seeing. Okay, Gerrard maybe wasn't a good enough manager for the Premier League. That's hard to say. It's too hard to give an analysis. But from reports of what came out of the dressing room, it seemed it was a step too far. A bit like Solskjaer, where you can play with your heart, but the brain and in terms of the tactical nous or that you might need.
He seemed to be kind of maybe too doubting himself as well, and he was playing maybe a little bit defensive within themselves.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see how that goes. This is Emery's, Unai Emery's back in the Premier League. His first game. He will be keen not to lose, so I reckon it could be like a conservative maybe approach from Villa on this one. I don't know, but United undefeated in 5. Yeah, like you said, I think the form is with them. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for United on this one.
Yeah, 1-0 or 2-0, I think.
Yeah, because Villa, it's going to take a while for them to turn things around. They've been in the rut. Okay. That leaves us to Southampton at home to Newcastle.
Okay, what do you think there?
Well, Newcastle are a form team.
Yes.
They've last 5 games scored 12, conceded 2, 3 wins in a row, scored 7, conceded 1. I think they've got the best defence in the league. If I'm not mistaken, conceded only 10 goals in 13 games. Which surprised me because I didn't get a chance to check that. I thought that City might have conceded less. But definitely their defence is one of the best. And they're scoring now as well too.
Yep.
And there seem to be goals coming from all over the field as well, not just from... and they're missing Isaac, he's injured. Southampton were my team for relegation. I still have no reason to change that. They lost their last game to Palace 1-0. 1 win in the last 8 games.
Yes.
I've got to go with Newcastle on this one. I think Newcastle too. They don't have European games.
Yeah, that helps them.
Let's get 2 wins now from this. So
they're aiming for top 4, and they're in a good position at the moment, and they'll want to keep it going into the World Cup.
Yeah, and
so
then
that
they
come back,
could strengthen in January. You could see a few signings in January as well. Yeah.
So I would agree. I think a 1 or 2-0 victory for Newcastle away will be a great result and a great statement by them.
Okay. That brings us to West Ham at home to Palace.
West Ham Palace.
Yeah, West Ham lost the last game to Man United. Palace beat Southampton in the last game. Yeah.
I've been impressed with Palace the last couple of times. Saying that, and West Ham did play Europe on Thursday.
I think they were able to play a young team because they had qualified already.
They had qualified, yes.
So they were able to rest all the players that they wanted to rest. I think anyone who played, Moyes would have wanted them to play.
Okay, so with that in mind, then I'm going to go for the Palace victory at home. I think they need.
Well, West Ham or at home?
The West Ham. Apologies. Yeah. Yes. West Ham at home. I'm going for a home victory for West Ham. I think your whatever his name is, Scaramanga. I know it's not that, but there you go. Has been a really strong signing for them and is playing really well.
Yeah.
Rice is coming back into form at the right time for England in the World Cup.
Yeah. West Ham definitely have a good team. I mean, they did a good run in Europe last year. They've got a solid team group. It's taken them a while maybe to kind of get back into things again after the lot of games they had last year. Yeah,
but they're motoring along, and so I'm going for the West Ham victory there.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. They've won their last 3 home games. Palace have no win in the last 7 away games. No goals in the last 3, I think. I'm thinking a low-scoring game. And this one, I think maybe 1-0 or 2-1, maybe to West Ham.
Yeah.
And then the interesting one, the last one on Sunday, Spurs against Liverpool.
I'm interested to hear what you think on this one.
Interesting one. Son apparently is out of a serious injury, could miss the World Cup.
Yeah,
to go for an operation.
He's
Yeah, that's a big blow to the Premier League because I'm a big admirer of Son, and I'm very sorry for him if he has going to miss the World Cup because it would be won't be the same load. I mean, South Korea would be interesting watching him win the team.
100%.
And Liverpool, there seem to be 2 teams, isn't there? There's the Premier League team and there's the Champions League team that can beat Napoli 2-0. There's that kind of a mix, isn't it? Liverpool have the potential, but just don't seem to be kind of finding the rhythm. Spurs at home. I'm not sure. I think a high-scoring draw on this one. I think Liverpool not really firing at the moment. The shot conversion rate is the lowest, or one of the lowest in the league. Spurs will miss some, but I can still see them maybe getting some. I think this will be an exciting open game, 2-2 for this one, I think. What do you think?
Before the Son injury, I probably would have gone for Spurs to win this. Hate to say it. I think a lot of Liverpool's issues is that transition of our midfield from the lads we had to the new guys, and they play a different style of football.
Yeah.
But our defence was so used to being so well protected by the defensive midfielders that Liverpool had, that they're being exposed a bit more than what they might have been in previous years.
Yeah.
I hope that Konate stays injury free and gets a run of games. I think he can be a bit like Saliba for Arsenal. He's a really young, solid player.
Yeah.
Dare I say it, maybe even drop Van Dijk for a few games and have Konate and Gomez as the centre half farmers. Yeah.
Gomez has been a bit suspect as well too. You know, he feels a bit casual in his play sometimes.
Sometimes he can look casual. I do agree.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what about this thing, Liverpool conceding the first goal in 8 out of their 13 games?
That's it. It starts with that fear that seems to be in there.
It seems that like they don't get going until like they need to have to. It's like everyone is kind of maybe waiting for someone else to kind of be the one to kind of like.
It's pure. It really is a mental thing. As in just that, like in rugby, the All Blacks had the same problem, and they kept saying we have to stop conceding a try in the first 5 minutes. And they went out next game and they conceded a try in the first 5 minutes. You know, and
you're too much thinking about it. Maybe
you can overthink things, and things become an issue in the head.
So overall, Spurs Liverpool. What do you think?
I'm thinking the draw.
Draw as well. Okay.
I'm
exciting
thinking 1-1.
I think
Yes. Yeah. An exciting game. Okay, guys.
Okay, guys. Thanks very much.
We're back.
Yes. And now, finally, a word from our sponsors. Bye bye.